This is Deb, our interviewer,
Hi.
and this is our video operator. It's pretty scary. I don't know if I'm on there. And we ought to have the date. Somebody?
Today is July 22nd, 2010. The time is 2:20, and Deb and Eve are sweating to go on their way to visit Lauren in Cincinnati. And Roger has his headphones on and looks funny.
Now,
But this is July 22nd.
and
It's
how
a
old are
Friday.
you now?
I don't answer that question.
As the interviewee, she's 82.
82. That was not recorded.
As a real age person, I'm lying about my age these days. I think I'm lying and saying I'm 78, but nobody believes me.
And let's see her whole outfit. We want to see the whole outfit. This is what is current in the world of fashion today.
Do you like my turtle?
It's very Roman and Greek.
No, it's very
Well, the shoes.
artsy. I just did.
She
The
keeps talking
Pondy
about
College.
the sandals.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
It would have been my senior year. When did the war end? 45? Yeah, the war. It would have been the end of my junior year in high school. And World War II had been going on. And this actually was VJ Day in the summertime. It was August of 1945. The war in Europe had ended in May. And so this was the end of the war in totality with Japan. So I was working at the telephone office, and the war ended. Now, I don't remember how we got the very first message, but it was one of the most exciting days of my life. It really was, because all of the drops on the telephone board started falling. And when somebody made a call from home, there was a little cover on where you put the hole in, the plug in the hole, that would drop down. And all these drops started dropping at one time. And so we started calling in people. One of the ladies who kind of was in charge of us lived right down the street, so she came in. They called in all the operators we had. Now, our board could have, I guess, maybe 4 at the most. It was very small. But anyhow, it was so exciting because people were calling from all over the world. We were placing calls to people and family in our country as well as in Europe, other countries. It was exciting. People were firing guns, shooting shots. It was a very exciting day in my life.
Sounds like it. Where did you meet Dad? Don Pierce.
Okay, I met your dad, Donald Irvin Pierce, in Normal, Illinois. I was working as a soda jerk while I was in college, and I worked at Cohen's Drugstore in Normal, Illinois. And at that point, Mrs. Wing, who was the owner of the drugstore, had been serving food of some sort, trying to make the soda fountain more into a lunch counter. And so she would have sandwiches, and then sometimes cockroaches would run across the counter. It could be a little embarrassing at times, but we had it. And you pretended like you didn't see it, but the customers always did. Anyhow, there was a plumber in town by the name of Obie Streeper, who always came in to eat lunch at Cohen's Drugstore. And so one day he brought in this young, handsome, dark-haired guy named Don Pierce. And they thought that would be very nice if I'd go to the circus with them that night. There was a circus in town in Bloomington, Illinois. And so, you know, your dad was pretty creative. So he told me, before we ever went to the circus, that he used to be the geek in the circus. And I just happened to have known what the geek was, because the geek had a live chicken, and he held it up to his mouth, and he twisted the chicken and snapped the chicken's neck, and he pretended to eat the blood, drink the blood. So Dad told me he was the geek in the circus. So we went to the circus that night, but he really hadn't been the geek. And so, but he did have some circus background. So that's how I met your dad. So that was the beginning of 43 years.
What was he doing with Obie?
Oh,
Was he selling
okay.
insurance?
Oh,
Why
no,
does
no,
he
no,
know
no,
Obie?
okay. He had a room. He rented a room from Ma Streeper. Actually, Ma Streeper was Obie's mother. She lived in one house, and she rented out rooms. Dad lived in her house. Okay.
Why?
Because he needed a place to live.
Why?
Because, I'll tell you, okay. After the war, this was after World War II ended, your dad and Ray, Uncle Ray Ostrom, started manufacturing portable laundry rinse tubs. And they purchased, which they used for rinse tubs to go with an automatic washing machine. No, the first machine, yes, I guess they always were automatic. Okay, so they bought these in the tubs of regular upright washing machines from the Thor Washing Machine Company in Bloomington. And that's why they located in Bloomington, because they could buy the parts there to make the tubs. Now they made 2 rinse tubs, and Ray manufactured a steel stand with casters on the bottom, and then they inserted a faucet in the tubs and filled in all the holes with washers, and they sold these laundry rinse tubs.
Ray was in Bloomington too?
Dot and Ray had a trailer, and they lived in Bloomington, yes.
I never understood that.
Yes, they were manufacturing them.
Well, I understood they manufactured, but I
Yeah.
thought it was all in Mishawaka.
No, okay, well, let me tell you how they
That's-
got there. Okay,
that's the part
so
I
I met Dad probably toward the very end of my junior year in college. But that summer, they moved their manufacturing plant, such as it were, from Bloomington, Illinois, back up to Mishawaka,
Gotcha.
because the whole family was up here.
Right.
And I guess they could have the tubs shipped up here just as well. Or maybe they drove down to Bloomington with they had a truck. Maybe they drove down to Bloomington and picked them up. And I sort of think that's probably what they did.
All right, so then you started dating?
At the end of that junior year, then all summer, see, I worked at the telephone office in Trenton, so I could call. Of course we weren't supposed to, but I did. So I talked to Dad all summer, and then when I came back to school my senior year, by then he had moved from Bloomington back up to Mishawaka, and so I would ride the train up to Mishawaka.
Oh, okay.
About every other weekend. And then they had their plant at 109.5 North Mill Street.
Oh, Mill.
Mill Street in Mishawaka. It was an alley entrance. There was a little alley called Mill Street. And actually spent a good share of the weekend working with them in making the rinse tubs.
Oh, I didn't realize it started in Bloomington.
Yes, it started in Bloomington.
So that's why
where I
he knew
met
the
him.
plumber.
That's where he knew Obie Streeper from,
I
because he lived in
their
Obie's
house.
mother's house. Obie and his wife had another house, but Dad rented from, they called her Ma Streeper.
Yeah, well, that makes
That was
sense
the
now.
beginning of a lifelong love.
Exactly.
So it worked out.
It did work out.
And they had 2 beautiful
We had 2
children.
beautiful children named Deborah Sue and Roger David,
She prefers
who
Susan.
are going through this. And I think it's time we take off for Cincinnati today. What do you say? That was a good start?
I think it was a great start.
Yeah.
And any final words, Eve, for the next generation,
C'est la
millenniums
vie.
to come?
Draw your Social Security and any benefits you can get from the state of Illinois and Indiana.
She's optimistic. There's a state. in a country-
I'm optimistic for the future, and somehow I do think it'll all work out.
There you go.
And you will live happily in your beautiful houses.
That's
the
great.
rest of
That's a
your
good way to
days.
go. That's it. From
Right.
Zionsville.
Okay.
I think it is being
Okay.
recorded, but I can't tell
It's hard to tell.
if it's just.
If it's me talking,
Yeah, 'cause
or
I
if
even
it's coming
sound
out
weird.
of there.
But see, I hear that, so we must be recorded.
Welcome to my world.
I feel like
This even
Tom
says-
Stankus in the nursing home.
This
So
even
confused.
says sign of release. You're laughing, but it's what it says. Well, this says, what was the best day of your life? What was the
How
biggest
could I?
mistake you ever made? And what makes you want to date us?
Having Devin Ryder was the
Biggest
biggest,
mistake
the
is-
biggest mistake,
Or
aside
we
from